Welcome back to Cryptos Are Us. I am George, or all George. So, what happened today? We had a lot of things happen today. We had Fed Chair Powell. He testified in front of the Senate. We had that go on. And we had other things happen that caused Bitcoin and crypto to fall. So, let's talk about it. What's going on with the market? Are we going to recover? Or is this going to be a prolonged weakness? Let's talk about it. Let's do it. Welcome, guys. We're starting out tonight right around $96,000. You know what? This morning, we started out, I think, it wasn't... I forgot what we started out. We were at like I think last night we were at like 98. And then we like slid down to like 97 this morning. And then after Powell, started talking, Bitcoin just kept sliding down and down and down and down. We got to 94.8 sometime this afternoon before climbing back up to about 96. Okay, but the good thing is, even though Bitcoin slid down to 94, the alts actually held pretty well, relatively speaking. Because normally when Bitcoin falls, you see all the alts just dump down like crazy. It actually didn't happen today. The alts actually held relatively well, so that's a good sign, right? And this morning, I forgot, I also covered about Binance selling off all their assets in January. And I got some clarification on that too. So this morning, in case you missed it, I was broadcasting it live. You had Chairman Scott and Warren, Elizabeth Warren. They gave their opening statement, and Powell gave his statement. Basically, what Powell said was the Fed is not in a hurry to lower interest rates further, right, at this point. Obviously, he has to say that. But the reality is everyone wants him to lower interest rates further and faster. Okay? Everyone across the board wants him to do that. But in his opinion, he just wants to see things play out. He wants to see the labor market play out. He wants to see inflation play out before making any drastic moves. Tomorrow, we will get something else. Tomorrow, we will get another CPI reading, which it's anticipated that we're going to see inflation go up. So starting to tick up. Okay, we don't want to see inflation tick up. The more inflation we get, the less that he's going to be cutting, right? We actually want inflation to go down. We don't want inflation to go up. However, higher inflation will probably mean people are going to start spending less because goods and services are going to get more expensive. There may be more layoffs, and that could cause him to cut more rates. But just inflation alone going up is not going to cause him to cut rates because he's afraid cutting rates will actually increase consumer spending, which will increase inflation. So tomorrow we do have another CPI reading. It could bring some volatility. We'll see what happens. As long as it's in line with expectation or a little bit slightly off, it's not going to cause too much disruption. But we'll see what happens tomorrow. So that's pretty much all he said. He also did say a few things. First of all, squashes the possibility that the Fed will develop its own digital currency. That's good. So they're not going to develop their own CBDC. We already knew this. David Sachs and the group, including the Senate chair, they said they're going to work on stable coins, regulations and stuff. you know, so I guess on one hand, it's good that they're not going to create their own CBDC. On the other hand, no one really cares about stablecoins, all right? We want them to adopt Bitcoin and get that strategic reserve going. That's what everyone's waiting for. No one cares about stablecoin regulations. Where's that Bitcoin strategic reserve? That's what we want to hear about. And so far, we haven't heard much, right? So, still waiting for that. But, you know, today, because of this, brought some more FUD, I guess. Brought Bitcoin down slightly, but it did, like I said, the alts actually held relatively well. We didn't see a major sell-off with alts like we did over the weekend, so that's actually very, very encouraging. Now, something else that caused a lot of FUD, and is still ongoing, is Binance. So this morning, it was reported that Binance sold off a ton of their crypto. 94% of their Bitcoin assets, 99.9% of their ETH, 99% of their SOL, and 99.9% of their USDT. I reported this morning. They sold all of this in January. Now, their customer support gave a very vague and confusing answer. Binance is not selling assets. This was simply an adjustment in Binance's treasury's accounting process. User funds are safe. Okay, user funds has nothing to do with user funds, but this is very deceiving. This is a deceiving statement. What they mean by not selling assets, meaning like they're not selling it off, right? They're not selling it to another entity. However, they did trade it. They traded it for USDC to make their books look better. So they did, in fact, trade 94.1% of their Bitcoin for USDC. They did, in fact, trade 99.9% of their ETH for USDC. They did, in fact, trade 99% of their SOL for USDC. They even traded 99.9% of their USDT for USDC. Why do they want to make their books look good and profits look good? I don't know. Maybe they are planning on selling, or maybe they're trying to raise, or whatever the case. But they did. And if they're trading for USDC, or because of regulations or whatever, maybe they're trying to comply with some kind of lawsuit or you know, whatever, that probably had a lot to do with what happened over the last few weeks. And they may still be doing that this month. So this was very, in my opinion, very, very deceiving. This is not selling assets. It doesn't mean that they're not trading it. They certainly are. This is just saying that they're not selling it to another entity, but they are definitely trading it. So yeah, there's that. And we don't know why. Maybe CZ will answer this, but that's still a big question mark. That is a big, big question mark. And hopefully, you know, this doesn't continue, because this you know, hopefully they're done. I mean, if they sold off all of it, they shouldn't have a lot more to sell. We're talking about billions upon billions upon billions that they traded. I should say not sell, but traded for USDC. That's a lot of trading or selling pressure. Anyways, so yeah, we had a lot of volatility recently, right? A lot. Over the last, I would say, 2-3 weeks, maybe even a month. But you know what? That's the name of the game, right? That's the name of the game. It happens. It happens. Sometimes SHIT happens. We go through these periods, right? where it seems like, yeah, the market sucks. We're not moving. We're going sideways. It seems like, there's just a lot of bad news. But know that there are a lot of great things that are still happening. A lot of great things. Even though there are some things short term that seem bad, what I like to call them are distractions. Okay? But once we move past it, we forget about them. We don't even remember them. Okay? And we're going through one of those times right now. But we have gone through many, many, many of these times in the past, and I don't even remember them. Like last year, when we went through this period right here, all these dips, do you guys remember why we fell down? I don't. All these giant dips, all these 30% dips that we went through, we had a lot of fun back then. I don't remember any of those. It's the same thing. We have a lot of fun all the time. There's always some reason. Someone's selling. Someone's causing some fear that's causing Bitcoin to go down. There always is. But it's important to remember, when we had all that FUD, Bitcoin was in the 60s and 50s and 40s. We are not in the 60s and 50s and 40s. We are in the 90s. In fact, we're at 95,000. We're talking about moving a few thousands, okay? We're talking about moving from 98,000 down to 95,000. We're talking about just a few thousand. We're not talking about moving 30,000 points down, right? So you got to put things into perspective. Even though, yeah, we're moving down a little bit here and there, but overall, when in doubt, zoom out and realize that we have come a long way and we're not going to stop, right? So yeah, we got some fun right now, but know that there are a lot of great things still happening. A lot of great things. What are these great things? Well, let me get to them. Goldman Sachs, one of the big banks out there, revealed that they have boosted their ETF holdings by 105% in Q4. So obviously, they're bullish on Bitcoin. And a lot of banks are. They're just not as revealing as Strategy or Michael Saylor. A lot of companies don't just come out and say, I just bought $1 billion worth of Bitcoin, right? That's just not their motto. They try to hide it as much or as long as they can until they have to reveal it through a filing or a quarterly. So there are a lot of entities, institutions, private companies, funds that are still loading up behind the scenes. A ton. And also, this is coming up, and I think this could be a really good thing. FTX distribution is coming. It was reported it's supposed to be tomorrow, but now I'm hearing it's the 18th. But we got like $16 billion that's waiting to be distributed, okay, in stables, not in crypto. So it's not like one of those moments where everyone gets their crypto and they go sell off. No, they're getting stables back. So even if everyone took their stables and cashed out, it's not going to disrupt everything. But you got to figure all these people that's getting stables, what are they going to do with it? They're probably going to buy some more crypto with it, right? That's coming up, potentially within a week. That is pretty bullish as well, right? So that could be a huge stimulus for the entire space that's coming. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. And of course, outside of Bitcoin, we still have a lot of great things happening, okay? We have a lot of great things happening. We got a lot of ETFs that are very, very close of being approved. We got an XRP one. We got a Solana one. We even got a Doge one. And maybe even a Litecoin. All of these could be coming in the near future. Right? And Grayscale has an application for all of them. You got Van Eck, 21 Shares, Wisdom Tree, Bitwise. These are some big fund issuers. They're all waiting. They're all pending. These will bring a lot, billions of dollars into the space outside of Bitcoin. Right? That's why some of these actually have gotten really strong recently. Even Cardano. Cardano may be getting one. That's why Cardano actually started spiking up in the last few days because of this too. Right? This is all positive. These are all coming this year as well. So a lot of great things. But besides just ETFs, utility, I don't know if this is true, but if it is, this could be huge. Bank of America potentially is using XRP for all their internal transactions. I've heard this before. I don't know if this is actually true, but if it is, that's pretty big. That's pretty big. Again, I take this with a grain of salt because that's a lot of transactions, a lot of XRP buying. But you know what? If that's true, that's pretty amazing. But also you have this SBI Holdings. They're huge in Japan, and they're a big XRP or Ripple supporter. I've never heard of this. They're giving their shareholders an option to receive dividends in XRP. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool indeed. Yeah. And you know what else? What about Cardano? Now it's been reported that Microsoft is in talks with Cardano. They may be doing something. Microsoft's been pretty quiet recently. They've been like going all out with AI, but you really haven't heard anything in terms of crypto, but they may be making a move. And Cardano, of course, is also tied with Elon, with Doge, with Starlink, and many others, right? So outside ETFs, there's a lot of great things that's being worked on as well. So a lot of great things, guys. A lot of great things. So don't fall for the FUD. Ignore the distractions and focus on the future. That's it. But tomorrow we do have this. We have the inflation reading. So this could bring a little bit more volatility. What is the futures right now? Futures kind of, yeah, it's kind of even right now. So no one really knows what's going to happen tomorrow. All right. Let's do some Q&A. All right, let me scroll up. Joe asked, did you hear SEC officially acknowledges 21 share spot ETF or Solana ETF? Yes, I did cover that a few days ago. Hi, Def. Welcome. Let's see. Garrett, as a North Carolina resident, what does my state have their own strategic reserve differ from being federal? Any insight? Yeah, there's a state one and a federal one. There's like 20 states that want to build their own reserve. So that's different from a federal one. So yeah, it is completely different. There's about 20 states that's trying to build their own reserve, which is very, very cool if you think about it. Devin said, I really thought we would hear more about Matic this cycle. Do you think it's still worth holding? You know what? Matic kind of shot themselves in the foot. They confused a whole bunch of people with the poll by switching to, coming out of the poll. And then it wasn't adopted by some exchanges. And then they couldn't figure out how to scale. And then they drove a lot of people out to Immutable. They have this weird relationship with Immutable. And a whole bunch of dApps moved out. I don't know. There's always a chance they can come back and be strong. But like right now, it's just like, I don't really hear much from Polygon or Matt or Poll. Yeah, I have Matic in my DCA portfolio. It's like one of the only L1s that is still down massively. And I've thought about switching it out because I'm not so sure it's actually going to pull through the cycle. I'm hoping it still can. In altcoin season, a lot of things happen. But this cycle, we may have a different altcoin season. Chris Hollis says, Plan B has been backpedaling on what? Price prediction? Man, today there's someone that keeps on selling Bitcoin, like slow trickling selling of Bitcoin. The alts actually held really well. If you look at like XRP, Sol, Sui, ADA, they actually held really well, but someone just like kept slow trickling selling Bitcoin throughout the whole day. Don't know why, and I don't know who. Hopefully it's not Binance. Say you have 15, Cody is asking, say you have 15% of your portfolio in ETH. Do we hold swap to Sol or just wait for the next cycle or something else? I can't tell you what to do, but you just have to decide you have to decide yourself. Look at the bigger picture, okay? ETH is not going to go away anytime soon, but look at where all the dApps are, where all the memes are, where all the volume is. Is it on ETH still, or is it on somewhere else? And, in my opinion, a lot have moved off The L2s have taken a lot of momentum away from ETH, for example. Solana and Sui and Cardano and all these other L1s have taken a lot of momentum away from ETH. So I don't think ETH is going to be nearly as strong as the last cycle. But that doesn't mean they won't go back to their previous high and do well this cycle. But I don't think they're going to be as strong as before. So you decide what to do with it. Maton. What's up with WIF? It used to be strong. I think there's no meme that's actually strong right now. When alts are weak, all the memes are like super weak. You have to realize meme holders are probably the least diamond crusted holders, right? So meme holders, they will be dumping first. They're the first to jump ship to another hot meme. And when things get weak, they're probably not going to be holding on to their meme. So that's probably why a lot of memes have been selling off a ton. Omar, how will tariffs hurt liquidity flow into markets? Well, that's the big $1 million question, right? Anytime a new tariff is announced, the market dumps. But we haven't really seen the effects of the tariffs yet. The only tariff that actually went into effect is the steel and aluminum one, and that only took place yesterday. So but we don't know like what the real repercussions are. Ford today said, you know, it's going to cause a catastrophe for Ford. So, you know, automakers are still already feeling the heat because they import a lot of aluminum and steel. So I don't know how the tariffs will disrupt liquidity. I think it's too early to tell. T-Rev, Sol, ETH, Cardano this cycle do well. I'm going to agree with 2 of the 3 in that list. Christopher, did Grayscale file for a Cardano ETF? Yes. Well, it's to convert their Cardano trust into an ETF. That's what they're doing. Grayscale is converting all their trust into ETFs for many reasons. The biggest one is so that they can actually sell, or their investors can sell, because those trusts were created that their investors basically couldn't sell. They can only buy, but they can't sell. But after they convert to an ETF, they can. So, yeah, that's another ETF that's pending. Do you see 50K Bitcoin soon? No. I don't see 50K Bitcoin ever again. Steve Larkin, I appreciate that. I try to be as best as I can, but I am human. Emotions get to me sometimes. And of course I make mistakes, but yeah, I try to share my experiences and try to keep you guys in the game. I've been through a lot of cycles. I've seen a lot of things. Freddie asks, is the market too diluted to see 2017, 2021 like pumps? It's not too diluted, but here's the thing. I think this cycle is different because we're not led by retail. 2017, 2021, led by retail. We weren't led by institutions. We are led by institutions this cycle. Institutions are definitely leading with ETFs and with purchases. So retail is kind of like sitting on the sidelines. Some have entered, you know, buying memes and some alts, but they're not leading the Bitcoin buying. Usually altcoin season starts because a lot of retail makes a lot of money with Bitcoin, and then the money starts flowing into the alts. But we're not really seeing that. We see it with a few specific alts. And that's because they either have memes on them or some kind of narrative that's helping them. But vast majority of alts are still weak and they haven't really moved. So I think this is the market. This cycle isn't too diluted. It's just, it's different than previous cycles. Ray's is asking, strike at 90. Does the math actually work out for this? Strike is going up and up and up and up, and MicroStrategy really isn't. So it's pretty obvious. This is kind of what I was saying. A lot of people are just buying strike because you get 8% dividend, and you don't get that with MicroStrategy. So I don't see why anyone's go buy strategy stock when they could hold strike. I really don't. Drones NBF. Georgia has the best Twitter feed. Thanks. Thank you. I'm glad you recognize it. I have made my Twitter feed, my X feed, I think one of the best, if not the best, for crypto news, interviews, memes, I mean like humor, breaking news, anything, charts. If you guys don't follow it, do so. It's really good. Morgan Powell, thank you. Yeah, but speaking of strike, I feel like this is going to take away from strategy. It's supposed to be low moving or slow moving because you get fixed income, but it's moving just as fast as strategy stock and you still get fixed income. So I don't see why anyone would buy strategy over this. One person says retail can't buy strike. Another says you can. I'm pretty sure you can. You could go on Charles Schwab and buy it. Just because it's not on Robinhood doesn't mean that you can't buy it. I'm pretty sure you could buy it on Charles Schwab. And someone else saying you can't sell strike. You certainly can sell strike. I don't know why there's so many misconceptions of it. Yeah, you can buy it on Schwab. See, people are saying it. I think people think you can't buy it because it's not listed on Robinhood. You can buy it on Schwab. Strike, of course, is not on Coinbase. It's not a crypto. It's a stock. It's a preferred stock. $10 MSTR equals 1 strike. No. 10 strike equals 1 MSTR, DJ. You already have that backwards. It does not have an $8 dividend. It has an 8% dividend. They had it in their slide, man. It's not $8 dividend. It's a 8% dividend. And it's 10 strike to convert into 1 MSTR, not the other way around. But you have to wait until MicroStrategy gets to 1,000 before you can do a conversion. That's the stipulation. Anyways. Look at ADA. ADA, since from yesterday, after the ETF news broke, it did a really good move from 70 cents, like 70 cents all the way up to 82 cents. It made a really good move. Came back down a little bit, but still holding most of its gains from 70 to 76 cents. Obviously, not as good as before when it was above $1. I mean, last week it was at $1, so it's still far off from there. But good to see that it did break the downward momentum and came up a little bit. Same thing with SUI. Man, SUI just a week ago was like in the 4s. Now it's like 327, man. A lot of alts got so weak from just a few weeks ago. A lot of whales just started dumping all the alts. Yakko says BTC topping at 130, calling it. All right. I'll remember, Yakko. If Bitcoin does not break 130 this cycle, I will give you 100% of the credit. I will say you called it. But if it does break 130, I will also call that you were wrong. I definitely think that's way too conservative. I think we will break 130 very easily, but I guess we will see who's right. Do you think most alts will recover to last week prices again sometime by end of April? Yes. I mean, if you think about it, right? The alts fell down so fast, they could come up really fast too. So by the end of April, yeah, I think right now, all the tariffs talk got a lot of people really scared. And that's what brought a lot of the alts down in a big way. But you know, if we get some good news, or if the FTX, or not the FTX, no, the FTX distribution, it's like, I don't think all 16 billion is going to be distributed, but like slow trickle of all these stables, and all this goes into like massive buying week over week over week. We could definitely see things come up really quickly. If the environment changes, we can see huge pumps come right away. You know, things change for crypto really, really fast. Let's not forget that. We tend to live in the moment, right? Like right now, you could argue we have been going sideways. We've been going sideways since November 20th. So you could argue for what? 2 months? 3 months, right? But, I mean, we did that for how many months? 8 months? Until we broke it, and then boom, we did a 50% gain right afterwards. So things move very quickly. That's why you don't want to give up. Thoughts on Portnoy's trades? Yeah, I covered that this morning. You know, he's plays it off like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. When I tweet something, you know, it goes up, and, you know, I'm making a lot of money from meme trading, and he pretends like he doesn't know he has pump power. Obviously, he has millions of people following him. This is not his first stint in meme coins. people know, well, OGs know, back in 2018, 2017, 2018, I think it was 18 or maybe it was 2021, but he was in SafeMoon, man. He was the biggest promoter of SafeMoon. You guys could look it up. He was trying to pump SafeMoon to the moon, literally, and that failed miserably. So it's not like he doesn't know about memes. How long before Binance will be done selling? I think they're done. I don't know, unless they have like unlimited amount to sell. This should be their entire inventory. Unless they have more to sell, but this should be their entire inventory. So I don't know. Randy, I have no idea. I think they're gonna be a lot higher. I'm bullish on them because, you know, first, they're American based and they're doing all the right moves. They're developing, building a community, and that's really all you can hope for, right? They're pulling all developers. You're seeing their TVL grow, their community and ecosystem grow. But I think it's important that they're in the US. I think a lot of US-based crypto companies are going to do very well. And that's going to be a big catalyst. Monica, new member. Welcome. All right, guys. I guess that's it for tonight. I know it's a little slow, a little fuddish, but you know what? Stay strong. Okay, like I said at the beginning of this stream, we have distractions, we have FUD all the time, but once we get past it, we don't even remember. Okay, we never do because we have so much of it. But it's important to focus on the bigger picture, on the future. You don't want to miss out. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, same time as usual, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right, have a good one, guys. Take care.